After our engine bed failure, we're back at it, getting everything in place to pull this engine out of the saloon. This week, we tackle a sketchy oil tray, an invisible repair, and fingers crossed, a well-aligned B-bracket. But what's a project without a little drama? Another setback. And exciting news, our new cameraman joins the crew. Enjoy! I've done this side. Now most of the floor is stabbed. We just have the corridor left, but we haven't put this one in place yet. And the aft cabin that doesn't have the floor on yet.
Yet another job that needs doing whilst the engine's in the saloon is to make a fuel drip tray, an oil spillage tray, something like this. So this tray will sit under the engine above the bilge, yet again making wonderful access to the bilge area. So it's a bit of a hash up job. I made this here box. Don't look too closely, people.
You're having fun?
Yeah, and yeah, just pouring epoxy on fiberglass. It's basically like paper mache. Yeah, it's awesome. Cut my hair. Check it out.
Oh yeah, look, he cut himself his hair. So, you know, it looks how it looks. But he doesn't let me do it.
Yeah.
Anyway, look at all these drips. Look at it. A lot of you were worried when we showed the bilge and said, oh, that's how all bolts were built. The bilge was the same for the engine and for the rest of the boat, and then when you pump the water out, it's full of oil and you just dump it all in the sea. And you're right.
Which is totally legal.
No, but we had thought about this, and Stuart had this already planned. So let's see how this tray looks once he's done, because it looks a bit messy right now.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to have a little break and show you the new addition to our camera team. And here it is. It is our very own flying cameraman. It's a Hover Air X1, and apart from light, small, compact, it's really fun to use. I'm gonna show you. It can take off from your hand. It is super easy to use. You don't need a controller, and it just follows you around. It's so cool.
See, and if you whistle, it comes back to you.
That's not how it works. I know how daunting it is to use a drone, and this is so simple. It's so cool also that you can just use your hand, because you don't need a spot to land it. It just comes to your hand.
Yeah, it's all pretty protected, so you can't get, you know, chopped up.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
Definitely the go-to flying camera if you're an explorer that likes to take some shots of your adventures. It's really cool.
It is actually really cool.
Standard, follow.
The thing I like with this is it's tiny, first and foremost. Look at it, just sits in your hand. I love that follow feature because it's basically like having someone with a camera behind you. It makes you feel like a movie star. And the other thing I like is when it zooms out, and it does a zoom out so you could see the whole area around you. I think that's pretty cool. So yeah, if you like them, yeah, and I do think they're pretty, I think they're an awesome bit of kit. Check out their website for more info. Hover, there'll be a link below.
Hopefully you don't crash it anywhere. But I think for what I've read, they're also pretty tough because they seem flimsy, but that's the whole point, to be flexible. So when they crash, it's like
Yeah.
It's not and also the propellers are protected with that.
Yeah, I'm actually really impressed by this little thing.
Nice. A new cameraman in the team.
Yeah, that's it. This was the template for the oil pan. That's what we're going to call it. We'll call it the oil pan. I managed to pull it out. It's pretty horrible, so I'll get rid of that. And this is the finish, well, the laminated oil pan. The tape got stuck. Maybe with a knife I can get it off. If not, a sander. It actually turned out surprisingly well. I'm quite happy with that. So what I've got to do here is mark the edge, cut that, and after that give it a sand, ready for a lick of paint. So without further ado, let's get marking and cutting. So maybe just with this tiny square I can do a few. Ooh. No, because it rounds up at the sides. I think I'll have to make a tiny little jig. Okay, what do we think? Square enough. Just washed all our clothes, so I don't want to get fiberglass dust on everything. Plus we're trying to keep the inside a little bit cleaner. That's it. It's definitely not perfect. Fits in pretty good. Probably just a couple of screws to hold it in. Yeah, just a couple of little areas, mainly here, where it had a big bubble, so because it fits in quite nicely where it is. I don't know if you can see that. But what I'm going to do is work on the inside. It's all sanded. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Yeah, I'll still give it a lick of paint. So have a look. So I had to repair this little area because it was a bit thin. Let's see how it's turned out. Not too shabby. A little bit stronger. And the other area was just here. Same again, I think it's turned out pretty well. I might put one layer just under this. Taking the peel ply off, I think everything is now covered, so that's pretty good. Probably don't go at it with 40 grit. I've just got to give it a light sand so you don't cut your fingers on anything. So I think that is basically ready to paint again, so hopefully get to that today.
Just gonna blow my nose.
And Marina is blowing her nose.
It feels so small.
What?
The boat when the engine is here.
Yep. Ooh. So cool.
The shaft is in and the sticks are in. As we've explained before, to center the shaft into the stern tube, we use these little sticks which are the same size as the gap all around, because the stern tube is the only piece of the puzzle that we can't modify. I mean, we could, but we don't want to have to redo that. That's our start point. So we align the shaft to the stern tube, and from there we work on the P bracket, which is the next piece that is also quite tricky to modify because it already has a place where it attaches to, and is trickier to modify than the engine as you saw, the engine is pretty close, and it is easier to get right because we can play with the height of the mounts and you can kind of move it around because of how close we got it to actually being aligned. So we're gonna hopefully get that P-bracket right today and actually fixed in place with bolts and everything. So I'm gonna put the sticks on the outside and then we'll be ready to play with that P-bracket for one last time. Look, just with the sticks on the inside, it already aligns it pretty well, but I'm gonna put the sticks also on the outside.
Couldn't see them. Okay.
That's good. Stuart is doing his happy dance, I don't know why.
Yeah, just happy being around you, babe.
Oh, that's nice.
Ooh.
I just told Stu, why don't you test your tray? Fill it up with water and see if it leaks.
Well, it leaks there.
Is it leaking or is that just got wet? No, it's definitely. Oh!
I got another leak. Maybe if I wipe them off.
One. No, look at that! Look at that drop. It's getting bigger and bigger. That's pretty cool to watch.
Looks like we're not painting that today then.
I'm glad I said you should taste it. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I've got Stuart on the phone so we don't have to shout to each other. You wanna say hello, Stuart?
Hello.
Okay, can you tighten up aft port a little bit? Okay, let's tighten up forward a tiny bit, both of them. Start port. Stop. Aft starboard. Aft port.
Yep, try that.
Can you undo more the aft port?
Yep, try that.
A bit more? Yeah, calm down. I think it's pretty clear what we're doing, but I'll explain it. We've just put the bolts through and let it hang a little bit and just tighten slowly every bolt until it's the most aligned that it can be, which is nearly there. Probably on the camera and you can't even appreciate it. It's just slight movement. This is how it's looking on the inside, and this is the backing plate that we're gonna put on. As you know, everything is bronze. As you can see, the fiberglass surface is not completely flat. So I don't know if we'll be making that flat, which means taking the paint off and putting some fiberglass and then having to paint it back, or try to bend the plate a bit. I don't know. Stuart also says that he's not very happy with these bolts being so close to this edge here, because we re-drilled them in a different area, not exactly where they were. So they are now not completely centered on this square area. So he says maybe also rebuilding, like building up this area a little bit so they are not on the edge. And this is where I wonder if we're being too pedantic. Because doing all these small modifications will mean a few more days until we can put the P-bracket on. So I think we should just put it on like this. But Stuart just mentioned that maybe we need to do that. So I don't know. I see what you're saying, that the plate won't sit perfectly right.
Yeah.
And I see that those balls are a bit close to that edge, but if we need to take the paint off, put more fiberglass on, have to repaint it, that means we're not putting the P bracket on it until quite a few.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Alright, starboard.
I just wanted these to get done and dusted today, but that's not gonna happen.
So this is where the plate will sit, roughly here. And we have a small gap here. And then at the back I would need to fill this much. Just to sort of build that area out. So it means, yeah, a bit more resin work needed and a bit of a tidy. Marina's a bit upset that we have to sand a bit, and
I just don't like having to do a job twice. I think we could have got it right the first time, and
but we moved the P bracket ever so slightly aft.
yeah, which meant the holes are not centered on that flat surface.
Yeah.
Well, not so flat as we can see.
As you saw from the earlier experiment, that tray seems to have a slight leak. So I'll cut up a couple of bits of biax or whack 'em on, and hopefully that will do the job. There we are, beautiful. As you can tell, I take a lot of care in my fiberglassing work because a tray for oil needs to look its best. Yeah, this is just, don't even know where this came from. Just a load of biax that sits in this here bag of random bits of tissue. Marina hates seeing me do fiberglass work because it's all in the post-production, basically the sanding. Okay. Here's hoping it's enough to make the tray waterproof. It is nicer to work outside now that it's sunny, but everything's upstairs, so you've got to constantly run up and down the ladder, but it's nice. A little bit of exercise, listening to a bit of music, enjoying the spring air. On that note, let's hope that this is enough so it doesn't spring a leak. See what I did there? See what I did? Okay, that'll do. Alright. Ugh, yucky. The prop shaft sitting, so I'm going to have to be a little bit gentle. I wouldn't say it's the neatest of jobs. I'm sure once we've put some paint on it, it will look a little bit prettier. You know what they say, you can't polish a turd, but you can roll it in glitter. So let's knock up a bit of paint and try not to get it on the prop shaft. I've decided to do the first coat with the brush just to get into all the tiny little holes. And what I'll do is I'll probably end up giving it a very light rub down once it's gone off, and going over it with the roller, because I've got a few coats to add. Never as good when you're doing patchwork, but we'll just do our best to try and get it looking pretty. After 3 more coats, I'm sure we'll be up to scratch with the rest of the bilge. So I think this is it now. After many attempts of little bit with the screwdriver, and with a lot of running up and down the ladder. God knows how many steps we've done today, but it's more than 5. We now have enough to, we've done enough of a job that we can bed it into the epoxy mixture.
Yep.
It's
So as you can see, there's a little gap.
tiny
I don't know
gap.
if you can see, but yeah, it's not totally flush on the hole, which means that it's going to be filled with some epoxy mix.
Yep. So what we're going to do now is take it all apart, knock up some polypox with silicel, and then stick it back in, try and get the alignment right, measure off around here.
To make sure that we were going to be able to get the alignment right, what we've done is we've put a 30mm shaft in the P-bracket and we've aligned it with our shaft. This, we just borrowed this shaft. You can see all the way around we've been measuring, making sure that this shaft is centered on this shaft. So we are, what is the point 0.05 or point?
No, about 0.15 millimeters between, it's, yeah, 0.05 to 0.1.
And what is the
Tolerance?
tolerance?
0.1 is enough.
Are you making that up? Or?
No, because on the other end, where you have the flexible coupling, the tolerance on that is 0.25, so 1/4 mil. So I think this with 1/10 mil, and then with if we aim again for 1/4 mil, not 1/4, 1/10, then the cutlass bearing should wear fairly evenly.
Okay, the camera is recording.
Hello. Hey Mum, I'm on the telly. So that's the P bracket off. So now what we're going to do is, we've got a bronze backing plate, which we're just going to mark and then drill with the pillar drill. Hopefully it'll be nice and square and it will fit.
This is what we're using, polypox, which is a bit thicker than epoxy, and we'll probably add a little bit of filler and then make a paste. Even though it's thicker than normal epoxy, still a little bit too thin, so we're gonna add some thicknesser in there.
Look, unless the thing wants to help with boat work. Look, go away.
Tell me not where they are and I killed them.
Nah, they're alright. They're just doing their thing, you know. Probably should have got a couple more eggs there.
Yep. Okay. I'm going opposite corner. Okay, I can let go? Okay. Oh my god. The mosquitoes. Nothing. Now we start tightening up. Aft port. Okay, stop. Go aft to starboard now. Wait. Go. Forward port. Okay, stop. I'm gonna put the shaft in now. Steward? Aft? Aft. Port. Aft port. Stuck in place. And as centered as we could get it.
Yeah.
So we're going to wait until this goes off, probably tomorrow, to take the whole thing off again,
If possible.
if possible, and then put Sikaflex. If we can't take the whole thing off, we'll be taking the bolts off. That's for sure, because we want to put Sikaflex so the whole 4 holes are sealed and there's no water going in the boats.
Gushing in.
Yeah. But yeah, this is as close as we could get it. Hopefully it's okay.
Plus we need to work on the inside. Have you explained?
Which inside?
Just
The
put
plate?
it, yeah.
Yeah, the backing plate, we still need to drill the holes and put it on, but we'll do that hopefully tomorrow or the day after.
And put the nylocks on.
Yes. So in the next few days, that engine is going on to the bed and we can forget about it.
That will all come as and when.
And the summer is here now.
Well, it's just not raining, so that's
Yeah,
not
it stopped raining after like weeks of
Yeah.
no end rain. The birds are chirping.
Get it down out there. Some of us trying to work.
Shut up.
Oh, told you. Called it. They've called me the bird whisperer many times
Look, he's
before.
over there.
Yeah, I can see the bird. I'm not ignorant. All right, nice one.
Good job. That's it for this week. We are wrapping things up with a clip from next week's episode fitting the backing plate. Because who doesn't love watching Sikaflexes squeeze out like this? A huge thanks to all of you for watching. 30,000 strong every week. We couldn't do this without you. Special appreciation to everyone supporting the project. Our coffee buyers, patrons, super thankers, and all our new YouTube members. And a big high five to Paul Littlefair, our newest trade wind master. See you all next week. Bye.